Hi, I'm Dr. Deepa Agarwal. I'm the nutritionist practicing in Hyderabad. Now, the aspect of today's discussion has been on saturated and unsaturated options which are available in the market. Now, we have to clearly understand what is saturated and what is trans fat or what is unsaturated options. Anything which comes from the plant source is unsaturated in nature. For example, oils, rice bran oil or sunflower oil or safflower oil or olive oil or mustard oil or even gingerly oil. These are all oils which come from plant sources. So, these have unsaturated nature, which means their carbon linkage or with hydrogen and oxygen is different. So, they are more acceptable to the body, and therefore they are more easily absorbed and digested. They are all unsaturated options which are used in our diet. Now, when it comes to saturated source is nothing but which comes from the animal source. For example, milk and milk products, the non-veg sources, ghee, butter, cheese, all these things are nothing but the saturated sources. So, it is not that you cannot take saturated source, it is advisable to take a saturated source also. Ideally, if you ask me on a personal note, ghee is not bad. 1 or 2 teaspoon of ghee, that is around 5 to 10 grams of ghee, can be taken regularly because it has lot of antioxidant property, it prevents you from cold and cough, it is good for the joints, especially in the elderly women. So, ghee can be taken, which is a saturated option, but again there has to be a word of caution. You cannot do everything you cannot do your whole day cooking in ghee and then consume. So, keep a caution like 1 or 2 teaspoon per day and then have. Cheese is very good, like if you want to have some salad like Caesar salad with lot of Parmesan cheese, you can do that. You can have 2 glasses of milk every day, you can add a teaspoon of butter to your meal and then have. So, having saturated forms of the sources of the animal product is advisable, but then within the recommendation. For example, milk and milk products, ideally we say 2 servings per day is what is advisable. Non-veg you can have 1 serving per day, and make sure that you are regularly exercising to burn those calories. Likewise, for the unsaturated sources coming from the plant sources, the oil especially, we go with only 15 to 18 or 20 ml per day per individual. So, based on the number of members you have in your family, you calculate the volume that has to be used in your cooking and try to give them in your practice regularly. So, this is how we go with the general calculation of our saturated and unsaturated options and how to utilize them in your regular diet. So, ideally people have this notion that saturated fat is bad fat and unsaturated fat is good fat. Frankly speaking, the terms are they are used in a different way. They saturated or unsaturated fat, both are good in nature, but you only have to have it with a word of caution. How much to be utilized and at what intervals to be used is what you have to understand. So, there is nothing very bad or very good, you have to just balance and then consume them in your regular diet.